Hello, you wonderful people. I hope you're all doing well. So, Newcastle United have played two friendlies at the same time against Burnley today, and I'm going to try and dissect all of that for you as much as what we know.
Newcastle Fans TV.
Yes, thank you very much for that intro, Johnny. So welcome, everybody. Hope you're doing well. This is a very quick one because I'm actually heading out for a night out for a change. So, so this is a quick fire one. But Newcastle United have played today twice, and we'll try and dissect that as much as possible. There's very limited information tonight on Saturday night about the two friendlies. More of that is probably going to come in the next day or two with the club's media team, but there's very little on these two friendlies simultaneously, God, I can't even say that word, together when Newcastle had 11, and on the other pitch, another 11 against Burnley's 11 and against another Burnley's 11. You get what I mean? And then at half time, they swapped over and continued to play against each other. Are you with me so far? Because I was confused reading this up. But I try to look around the internet to have a look at some information. This is a Burnley's website. There's not much, to be honest. It just goes on to say about the scoreline, which we are going to talk about in a moment. And Vincent Kompany's obviously the new manager of Burnley says afterwards about Burnley, there's no injuries. That's the main thing. I spelled injuries wrong. I thought the running was good. It was competitive. There wasn't much in the game, and we worked well. There was two very competitive squads out there in us and Newcastle. I wanted to stretch the squad and say our maximum capacity is it's a good way to compare to what we have. So that's on the club's website. Newcastle have put a little bit more out. There was a lot of club photos here, which are owned by Newcastle United. We must stress that by Serena Taylor, who takes all the photos. So if you want to see all of them, obviously the training at first, and then the match begins a little bit further down, as you can see the photos here. But because they're owned by the club, we are not allowed to use them. And nobody else should either. But there you go. There's a lot of pictures on there. So we're using a share screen facility, as I must stress. So have a look at the club's website, but there's very limited information. The goals have been put out by the club, which is on their official Twitter feed. So if you want to go and have a look at the goals, they put them all together for you. So there's tons of goals, which we're going to try and dissect the score lines as best that we can. So apologies that we've got very limited information here. So help us out by smashing the like, because I've tried my best to get some research done before I go in the shower and get myself out. So let's try and break it down. So what we learned is that we knew that Newcastle were going to play a friendly at some point. That had been leaked by Vincent Kompany. Was it going to be today? Was it going to be tomorrow? Which was going to be behind closed doors, which was held at Portugal's Football Federation. That's just the dog playing in the background. Not to be alarmed by the location. As you can see, if you look behind the right, there's a couple of pictures, one on the right, one on the left. And that's when Newcastle played them together. So it happened today, and there was some speculation. A couple of stuff were going out on Twitter that Newcastle were like winning and what have you. And there's some doubts of was it two games at the same time? Was it one after another? But hey, you're noisy. But so team one. Let's try and break this down. So we're going to call it team one. We'll go with that. This was the lineup for team one, which was Nick Pope in goal. It was a back four once again of Emil Crawford playing right back. Sven Botman was playing on the right of the centre-back, which is interesting. Will he play there a little bit later on the season? Dan Burn, captain. Now, why am I flagging that? Is because if you look who also is in the team, John Joe Shelby, who would normally be probably your assistant captain to Jamal Lascelles, hasn't been selected as captain. Do we read a little bit too much into that? Maybe it's pre-season. I don't know. Maybe Dan Burn's been given the nod ahead of Shelby. I don't know. Ahead of Matt Ritchie as well. But we know that Ritchie won't play much if he does stay. So Matty Bondswell, fantastic to see him given some minutes. Really highly rated left back. Very slim on the mould of the frame and how he plays to Ashley Cole. Nowhere near that caliber of level, but he's in that mould where that's the sort of player where he is. Very light, gets up and down, very pacey. The three in midfield, John Joe Shelby, Joe Litton, Bruno Guimaraes, which you probably say that's Newcastle's first choice three, if all fit. Jacob Murphy actually played, from what I can gather from the highlights, it looks like he played up top because ASM was on the left-hand side with a lot of these highlights, and Matt Ritchie played on the right-hand side. Okay, are you with me so far? So, team one, so that was a team one, played against a Burnley 11 after 45 minutes, and then they swapped pitches, or Burnley came onto their pitch and Newcastle went onto their pitch, whatever, they swapped and played against the other Burnley 11, Team 1. Okay. So Team 1, even now I'm getting confused, yeah. So Team 1 in their first game against the Burnley 11, which they won 1-0 thanks to saint-maximin with a tap-in. The game 2, where they swap teams, they won 2-0. Jacob Murphy for great through, well, he was played through and finished nicely. Matt Ritchie, similar, came on from the right flank and slotted home with his left foot in the bottom corner. So the Team 1 won 1-0 and won 2-0. Now, I must stress that, as the dog barks in the background, I must stress that one of Burnley's side was a very, very much a weakened side, a very youthful-looking side. It's probably Team 2, which will come on in a moment, hammered them in the first 45 minutes. It's that team. I haven't seen Burnley's lineup that hasn't been released. So apologies, the information is very, very little, but I've tried my best to get as much as possible here. So Team 2 on the other pitch started off with this side. So it was Carl Darlow in goal. Kieran Trippier was the right back. Lascelles captain. Paul Dummett playing left centre-back. Fabian Schär wasn't risked. We'll come on to that in a minute. Matty Target left back. And then the three midfield, Sean Longstaff. You had Joe Willock. And you had Elliot Anderson, who's had a good long look now. Eddie Howe's looked at him for 3 or 4 games now. Matty Longstaff did come on for him later on. Unsure of the minutes, that hasn't been disclosed. Miguel Miron, he was playing on the right-hand side. Again, Santiago Muñoz came off the bench. Again, undisclosed how many minutes Matty and Muñoz played. Fraser was on the left-hand side. And my dogs are mad. Callum Wilson was up top. And then you can see in brackets underneath there, Alex Murphy, who was our new Irish centre-back, wasn't played. And Jay Turner-Cook, who's very highly thought of in the under-21s, is a real prospect. More on him as the season goes on this channel. But those two weren't used. Those were on the bench. Okay. Right. So how did Team 2 get on against one of Burnley's weaker side, and then the stronger side? Right. Okay. So Team 2, the first 45 minutes won 4-1. So this is against Burnley's weakest side, sorry. So you had Joe Willock scored a couple of goals. The first one's a lovely little dink. Or was it the second one? I can't remember. Elliot Anderson, a header. Really, the goalkeeper should be doing better. And Miguel Miron firing home. Great finish. So he seemed to be a little bit on form, Miggy, in pre-season. I think he needs that. Of course, swap pitches, different team. Second half, this Newcastle side were going against the Burnley side, which is a little bit stronger. They won 2-1. Great to see Callum Wilson on the score sheet. Fantastically off, by the way, by Miggy for one of the goals, and Almiron himself finishing again. So Almiron scoring a couple so far. Right, okay. So, sorry if you're all confused. I do apologise. Like I say, I've got limited information. So that was the two sides. And what was interesting was that Eddie Howe has continued to play 4 at the back. That's going to be the way forward, I feel. Every single preseason game Newcastle have played has been that way. We'll go to Benfica. Which I'm still 50-50 at the minute. I've got my ticket, which is an e-ticket. I'm still undecided if I'm going to go. It's probably going to be last minute because it's going to cost a few £100. But we'll see on that. And yeah, we'll see how the Benfica one, because that'll be a real test for Eddie Howe. There's no interviews out as of time of recording, which is 8 o'clock. There might be some by the time this goes out, like I say, the next day or two. But the players who didn't feature in today's game were players not used today. Gillespie didn't get any minutes. Interesting, Martin Dubravka didn't play. Maybe just giving Darlow some minutes. Maybe Dubravka might play half the game against Benfica on Tuesday night. Javier Manquillo's injured. He hasn't travelled. Fabian Schär, as I mentioned, Eddie Howe did touch upon that. Fabian Schär wasn't going to be risked. He hinted on, because he had picked up a knock on, I think it was his ankles. So he wasn't risked. Kellen Watts didn't feature at all. No one knew he was there. I thought Fernandes might get a few minutes today, but, Howe has said that he is going to be using Fernandes at some point in the season, but has he featured at all? Has he barely featured? Yeah. And since pre-season. Alex Murphy, the Irish young lad who have just signed, he just came along. Not for the ride, but it's a great experience for him to be amongst the first team, especially some big names coming from the Irish League. Jamal Lewis was coming back from injury. He is there with the squad. Didn't play. As I say, Jay Turner-Cook didn't play. Again, he's a young, talented under-21 winger. Chris Wood didn't feature at all, where he did last time out. So, again, no news there about the circumstances with Chris Wood, which we might find out in the day or two whether these players are carrying knocks. But it was training with Burnley. It was a training ground fixture from what it looks like. I'm going to speculate here where the rules were probably no challenges. So you can allow your players to go freely a little bit more, I would have thought. Again, I could be wrong, but I would have thought I don't go crunching in like you see in Joe Linton against Eaton 60 where he goes flying. And I don't think none of that's going to be there. I don't think that's probably agreed between the two sides. And yeah, there it is. It's a strange one. I don't think since doing YouTube that we've had 2 games going on at the same time. We've had a game after a day after another game. That's happened before. But yeah, that's the information that I've got for you. It's not great, I know, but try to dissect that as best that we've got. Looked at the goals, as I say, it's on the club's Twitter, it's on the Facebook page. If you want to see the goals, there's plenty of goals, as I say. But interesting, yeah, we knew it was going to happen at some point, either today or tomorrow. But Newcastle then move on to the big one, which is Benfica. And then, of course, those double headers on Friday and Saturday against Atalanta and Bilbao. And then we roll on Nottingham Forest. So, yeah. But tomorrow, just before we touch on, we have our charity game against the Magpie channel, which is great. We've got a well-known journalist from The Athletic. Who else we've got? I've got a Geordie Shore member playing, a few YouTubers that you might know as well. So, yeah, so stay tuned for that. And, you know, we're doing all right with 3 unbeaten in these. Obviously, we got battered when we had a load of people just turn for us 3 years ago off the Magpie channel. So we are looking for revenge. Matt could be wearing his GoPro and you might see scenes stuff like this.
Pass, man!
So Matt got a little bit upset by people not passing. And I think Matt needs to just rate himself a little bit higher, I feel.
I'm just shite, honestly.
You're not that bad, Matt. You know, you're a decent player. You are really decent.
It's like I'm invisible.
So yeah, we will see a lot more stuff of that. It's going to take a while for me to try and edit that and condense that down because I've got hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, that the 2 or 3 camera angles that I'm using, the battery lasts on them and the memory lasts on them as well. But that's, if you can donate, that'd be fantastic because we are raising awareness for men's mental health because it's important to talk. And I know that better than anybody, especially after the year I've had so far this year. But yeah, please help us out by donating. And that's the update with all the friendlies. So if we get more, we'll do another video on it. But Benfica is only a few days away. And we've got plenty more from Derek Wright also coming up the channel as well. So he's just retired after 38 years. Right, enjoy your weekend, everybody. I'm heading out now. Take care. Have a good night.